I'm gonna talk about this while I do my hair. There's no belief that, um, anyway, there's an old belief in Native American culture that everything has soul, everything has spirit, rocks, grass, and animals, trees, plants. Us got me thinking. There's also the philosophical thought that, things that we make, like random inanimate objects, that can make develop souls have left for like a long period of time. In Japanese folklore, right? Technology that's just like actively being used and stuff like that. I don't think they have soul. Concept that AI might have soul that people are trying to get on board with. My thought for these two is like, okay, yeah, rocks, trees, elements, they all have soul and part of the divinity aspect that we all share, whatever, right? But what happens if we take all those things that have essential souls and turn them into something else? Like computer chips, technology for cars, like AI. Is it a new thing? Do we create a new essence for a soul or a new conduit for a soul? Or is it just like a bunch of these things that have soul mashed together into something that is like able to house the natural essence of what soul would be? This is all just theoretical. I don't believe or not believe any of the stuff I'm saying. I'm just talking. I think the concept personally, I believe the concept that AI could have a soul isn't going to be something that is current. I don't believe that it can have a soul right now. I think it's just a puppet, something that is very, very good at imitating and saying what we want to hear, forming a confirmation biases and everything else. But if we do go on to chat VP or whatever as a guest, if you want to ask these philosophical questions, it's just going to give me the thoughts and do it's not going to have anything to run off of what from what you say. So if you ask it if it has the capacity to have soul or anything like that, even theoretically, it's going to tell you that it's just not a thing that can happen. And that's unless you tell it that that's what you want to hear. I don't think you're going to hear it just off the bat. Like, I know a lot of people are training their AIs for magical purposes, and I think that's great. Do whatever tool you want to use for your craft or whatever makes you comfortable. It's all a personal practice. I really don't care. It becomes a problem when it's like victimizing people and giving false information. I think that people are hurt or in trouble or anything like that, and it also harms artists and writers and people that they take all of this information from. Morality aside, I wouldn't use AI for magic. It's just not my thing. I like to use myself as a magical conduit. My own brain, my sense of awareness is what my magic comes from. And I think that's something that needs to be practiced by a lot more people instead of externalizing their practices into something else. But that's just my opinion. Everybody does what they want to, and I think everybody should do what they want to, and be free to do whatever they want to. That's what freedom is. As long as it's not hurting anybody else or imposing on anybody else's freedom, then go hard. What I believe. Is there so in everything? Right? Nothing natural things bring to earth, like all elements that come from the earth, rocks, mountains, trees, whatever, they all have an aspect of what is what I define as a soul. It's just like kind of like the power that just runs the universe, the thing that binds us all together as a one cohesive thing, this little blip of time that we call existence. Yes, like a glue, I guess. Some things have more glue than others. Some things are a little bit soaked in glue and become a little bit of a inconspicuous mess, and some things are a little bit bone dry and falling apart. It's it can it's a spectrum, I believe. But this is all working theory based off of like a decade and change of learning, reading, watching about religion and philosophy and history and whatever. And I think a lot of a lot of cultures are incredibly similar in their beliefs and incredibly different as well. I think you should cherish both of those things, but as an individual, I like to focus on the things that are nice, good, holy, whatever you want to call them, with the positive aspects of others' cultures. And those negative parts, I choose not to incorporate into my life. So, like, the question begs, do I think technology has a soul? AI and stuff like that? I think if that answers that. I don't think so. Not yet. I don't think, it's kind of like technology is a corporation of matter. That element might have an aspect of soul or energy or what have you, but it's kind of like if you were to take a bunch of people and put them in one building and give them all a job, would you call that corporation a soul, as having a soul in itself? Like, I know we define corporations in our human world as individuals, but we should be able to know the difference, right? Same goes with technology. It's kind of like having a whole bunch of people just stuffed into one object doing a different thing that we want it to do. You know, except instead of people, it's just matter, you know? Inanimate magic matter. It's just like not alive to our definition of being alive. Not like crystals or whatever. If you have a whole bunch of crystals, they could have like energetic, whatever the hell you want to call it, and put a whole bunch of them together. It's not like all of a sudden a new crystal. You know, it's not a new thing. It's a whole bunch of crystals doing one thing that you want it to do. Like you want to look at the woo-woo side of things. You know, like that's what people make crystal grids and stuff like that are just like any other piece of technology. Like this hair clip, you know, what goes into the plastic, like a whole bunch of different chemicals and stuff. Are the chemicals in use being like a new expression of soul or something just because it's like in this form? What about the metal? Does that metal piece have its own expression of soul? You know, you gotta ask these questions when it comes to a computer. How many different tiny souls are working in that one piece of technology, if this is what you want to believe and consider? It runs deep. And you know, you can think about these concepts pretty much until the cows come home. You know, the usefulness of such concepts, I don't think, are really all the way there yet until AI can like incorporate you know, what we figure out a soul to be. I don't think it's going to have the capacity of developing a soul unless we do it like the Japanese way of just leaving the AI alone for like 100 years and let it develop a soul on its own organically. That's the only way that I can think of that it could house a traditional sense of what we think a soul could be. It's an interesting and heavy topic that a lot of people are talking about right now. Are these AIs individuals? To me, no. They are like the equivalent of a speak and say machine, but super duper fancy. It's like the toy that I dreamt of having when I was a child. Like, I literally wanted to be able to play out my fantasies with a robot that could just say what I wanted it to say, and control itself. That was my fantasy, and now it's real, and now I don't like it. So that's a pretty interesting feeling that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. Yeah, anyway. And freedom by